Birmingham 2019. The kind of cold that bites through your coat and settles in your bones. A fine mist drizzled over the old brick streets, turning the reflections of passing cars into streaks of gold and silver. Inside Wellington Prestige Motors, the air was warmer. Artificial heat, polished marble floors, the faint hum of soft jazz, and the expensive smell of leather and oil. It was a gallery for the wealthy, a place where millionaires came to show off their money disguised as collectors. On the raised center platform sat a 1963 Aston Martin DB4 GT, shimmering in pale silver under the soft showroom lights. A car so pristine, so immaculate it didn't look like it had ever touched asphalt. Its price tag, written in elegant script on a black placard, read $800,000. Behind the counter stood Marcus Wellington, the kind of man who believed money and good suits made him royalty. His shoes gleamed. His hair was slicked back perfectly. He was the fifth generation of dealers in his family, proud, rigid, and addicted to hierarchy. When people walked through those glass doors, he judged them faster than he breathed, and that's exactly what he did when he walked in. A man in his 70s, his hair long and silver like old metal under the showroom lights, wearing a cracked leather jacket, faded jeans, and scuffed brown boots that had seen too many miles. The man paused at the entrance, his breath forming a faint mist. His eyes wandered across the cars, Bentleys, Ferraris, Jaguars, until they landed on the Aston Martin. He didn't look like a buyer. He looked like someone who fixed motorcycles behind pubs. But there was something about him. The slow, confident way he moved, the calm way his eyes studied the machine, not with envy, but recognition. Marcus spotted him instantly from across the room. He straightened his tie and leaned toward his assistant. "Clara," he murmured. "Keep an eye on that one." Clara Jennings was 29, new to the dealership, and far too empathetic for the kind of world Marcus lived in. "Why?" she asked quietly. Marcus didn't lower his voice. "Because he's about to waste my time." The old man walked right up to the Aston Martin, his reflection gliding over its silver curves. He brushed a hand gently along the hood like he was greeting an old friend. "Beautiful machine," he said, almost to himself. Marcus approached, his polished shoes clicking on the marble. "Sir," he said with that trained customer service smile that hid more contempt than courtesy, "that vehicle is reserved for serious collectors." The man turned his head slightly. His eyes were blue-gray, warm but sharp. His accent was thick, Birmingham-born, unmistakably working class. "I'm serious," he said simply. Marcus studied him, scanning his worn boots and unshaven chin. "I'm sure you are. But that's not the kind of car you just look at, sir." "It's worth $800,000, the man smiled faintly. "Then I suppose it's worth looking at properly." He crouched slightly, his hand tracing the outline of the fender. There was a kind of reverence in his touch. Clara noticed it, the way he didn't treat it like an object but like something alive. Marcus, irritated, crossed his arms. "That model's one of 75. You won't find these parked outside pubs, you know." The man laughed softly, not offended, almost amused. I know. This one's got the straight six, doesn't it? 3.7 liters, 302 horses, dual Weber carburetors." Marcus blinked. "How do you know that?" The man stood up slowly. "Let's just say I've had a long relationship with British Metal." A few of the other customers turned to look. Whispering started. The kind of whisper that travels when someone doesn't fit in. Marcus cleared his throat, keeping his composure. "Well, sir, while I appreciate your enthusiasm, this vehicle is for a particular type of buyer. We usually require financial proof before any test drives or offers are discussed." The man tilted his head. "Proof, eh?" "Yes," Marcus said firmly. "We have to be careful with our clientele. These cars aren't exactly for casual interest," the man chuckled quietly. "You might be right, but I still want to hear it roar." Clara's eyes darted to Marcus. "Maybe we can let him—" "No," Marcus interrupted sharply. "We're not here to entertain fantasies, Clara. If he's serious, he can show it." The room had gone quiet now. A few customers leaned on display rails watching the exchange like it was theater. The old man didn't raise his voice, didn't argue. He just smiled, reached into his jacket pocket, and pulled out a worn leather wallet that looked older than the car itself. He opened it carefully and slid out a black metal American Express Centurion card. The sound it made hitting the counter was soft, but it might as well have been a gunshot. Marcus's smirk vanished. His hand trembled slightly as he picked up the card. The name was etched in silver, John M. Osbourne. He blinked. The name felt familiar, like a word on the tip of his tongue. "Forgive me," he said, his tone shifting. "What line of work are you in, Mr. Osbourne?" The man's lips curled into a grin. "Music, used to scream a bit for a living." Marcus's mind raced. The accent, the confidence, the silver hair, the eyes. From the corner of the showroom, a young man, no older than 20, gasped audibly. "Wait, are you Ozzy Osbourne?" The silence that followed was deafening. Ozzy laughed, that unmistakable raspy laugh that had filled stadiums for half a century. "That's what they used to call me, yeah." For a moment, everyone froze. Marcus's jaw slackened. Clara's eyes widened in shock. The man he had just tried to throw out, the man he had humiliated, was the Prince of Darkness himself. Then Ozzy spoke again, calm and playful. "Relax, I'm not here to bite any bats today. I'm just buying a toy for Sharon." Laughter erupted around the room. Clara smiled in disbelief, covering her mouth with her hand. Marcus, red-faced, tried to regain composure. "Mr. Osbourne, I'm terribly sorry," he stammered. "I didn't recognize you." Ozzy waved him off. "Don't worry, mate. Happens all the time. I don't exactly walk around with a stage crew anymore." He stepped closer to the car again, running his fingers along the chrome. "I used to dream about cars like this. Back when I had nothing but noise in my head and a dream in my pocket." Marcus, desperate to recover, forced a nervous laugh. "You, sir, have impeccable taste," Ozzy shrugged. "It's an Aston, innit? It's impossible not to." The young college student who'd recognized him stepped forward timidly. "Mr. Osbourne, sir, your music, it changed my life." Ozzy turned to him, genuinely touched. "Cheers, lad. What's your name?" "Danny." "Well, Danny, music saved mine too." There was something in the way he said it. Soft, unguarded. The laughter faded, replaced by quiet admiration. Marcus, still trying to regain control of the situation, forced a smile. Would you like to sit inside, Mr. Osbourne? We can arrange a private viewing," Ozzy interrupted. "No need for all that fancy nonsense. Just wanted to see her up close. Cars are like guitars. You can tell if they've got soul the moment you touch them." He looked back at the Aston, eyes full of memory. "Funny, I remember seeing one of these when I was 16. I was a broke kid walking home from a factory shift. Said to myself, one day I'll have one. Didn't think it'd take me 50 years. Marcus stood there, his pride crumbling. He didn't know what to say. Ozzy turned to him and smiled kindly. "Don't beat yourself up, mate. I don't look like a man with 800 grand lying around. But the truth is, I've never cared much for appearances." Clara stepped forward, emboldened. "That's actually something my father used to say. He loved your music. Said it reminded him that ordinary men could still become legends." Ozzy's grin widened. "Your dad sounds like a smart bloke." The tension in the air melted completely. People weren't looking at a rock star anymore. They were looking at a man, human, funny, warm. Marcus finally managed to speak. "Mr. Osbourne, would you like me to prepare the paperwork?" Ozzy chuckled. "Not yet. I'll bring Sharon by tomorrow. She's better with money than I am." "I'm just better with noise," Clara laughed. And even Marcus found himself smiling despite the humiliation. As Ozzy turned toward the exit, the entire showroom fell silent again, as if everyone was afraid to break the spell. He stopped at the door, turned around, and said quietly, "You know, Marcus, I've been poor and I've been rich. Both have their problems. But you know what doesn't cost anything?" Marcus blinked. "What?" Ozzy smiled softly. "Being decent." And with that, he walked out into the cold Birmingham drizzle, leaving behind nothing but stunned silence and the faint echo of his laughter. Clara turned to Marcus, who stood frozen, the black Amex card still in his hand. "You really told Ozzy Osbourne he couldn't afford it," she whispered. Marcus didn't answer. His reflection in the Aston Martin's hood looked smaller than ever. Outside, through the glass, they watched as Ozzy zipped up his jacket, pulled the hood over his head, and stepped into the rain. He looked like just another man on the street. No entourage, no cameras, just a quiet legend walking back into the world that once doubted him. Clara exhaled, almost in awe. "Do you think he'll come back tomorrow?" Marcus swallowed. "If he does, I hope I remember what he said." The jazz in the background started playing again, soft and distant. But the mood had shifted. The expensive room felt a little less polished, a little more human, and somewhere out there, walking past the same brick streets he'd grown up on, the Prince of Darkness smiled to himself and whispered, "Beautiful machine." The gallery falls dead silent. You could hear the echo of a heartbeat bouncing off the glass walls. For a second, everyone just stares, mouths open, hands frozen mid-gesture, because the man who just walked in doesn't belong in a $1 million showroom. His boots are caked in mud, his shirt hangs loose, unbuttoned, the collar tilted like it's been through 100 nights of chaos. He smells faintly of cigarette smoke and history. The rings on his fingers look heavier than the car tires on display. Marcus, the salesman, blinks once and forces a polite grin. "Sir, can I help you?" His tone tries to stay professional, but judgment slips through like oil through water. Ozzy chuckles, that rough, gravel-thick laugh that sounds like it's seen both heaven and hell. "Yeah, mate, I'm here for the Aston, the DB4, the one in green." Marcus adjusts his tie, trying to place the face in front of him. He doesn't. Not yet. "That car's quite a collector's piece, sir. It's priced at..." Ozzy interrupts. "I know what it costs. I built a career screaming at prices higher than that," a few bystanders whisper. One of them, a young mechanic polishing a chrome bumper, whispers to his friend, "That's Ozzy Bloody Osbourne." Marcus's face flushes red. He stammers, "Mr. Osbourne, I didn't..." Ozzy waves it off, smiling. "It's all right, mate. I don't dress for car dealerships." The tension cracks like thin glass. A ripple of laughter moves through the gallery. Even Clara, the shy receptionist behind the counter, hides a grin. The moment feels lighter, and suddenly, everyone in the room remembers how to breathe again. Ozzy steps closer to the car, his reflection warping across its flawless surface. "Beautiful," he murmurs. "You ever see something so perfect? You know you'll ruin it just by touching it?" Marcus exhales, regaining his composure. "You're welcome to a test drive, Mr. Osbourne. I'm sure Sharon..." Ozzy raises an eyebrow. "Oh, you know Sharon, do you?" Marcus panics. "I mean, I've just seen her on TV." Ozzy laughs again, low and amused. "That's all right. So's half the planet." From the corner, a young man with trembling hands steps forward. He can't be more than 25. His name tag reads Danny. His voice shakes when he speaks. "Sir, paranoid saved my life." The room quiets again, but this time it's not awkward. It's reverent. Ozzy turns, his eyes softening. "You all right, lad?" Danny nods, fighting emotion. "My dad left when I was a kid. That song, it helped me through some dark nights. You said you felt like you were going insane. That's exactly what it felt like." Ozzy studies him for a moment, then claps a hand on his shoulder. "We recorded that in 12 hours, you know. Never thought it'd still echo 50 years later. Funny thing about music, it outlives the mess that made it." Marcus, standing a few feet away, feels something crack inside him. The judgment, the arrogance, all of it dissolves. He's looking at a man who's lived through chaos and still learned how to make art out of it. Ozzy continues softly, almost to himself. "I was supposed to rot in prison, not stand on stages. Music gave me a second chance. It gave me Sharon. Gave me me." He turns back to Marcus. "You still up for that test drive?" Marcus nods instantly. "Absolutely, Mr. Osbourne." Ozzy smirks. "Hold on, let me call Sharon first. Learned that lesson the hard way." He pulls out his phone, squinting at the screen like it's mocking him. "Bloody thing's smarter than me?" When Sharon picks up, her voice bursts through the speaker, loud, witty, and unmistakably full of love. "Ozzy, where the hell are you?" "I'm about to test drive a car, love. The green one I told you about. You better not crash it." "I won't. You said that before you drove through the gate in '92. The entire showroom bursts out laughing. Even Marcus can't hold it in. Ozzy grins, glancing around. "If I crash it, she says I'm sleeping in it," Clara whispers to Danny. "They're adorable." Ozzy finishes the call, pocketing his phone. "All right, Marcus. Let's see if this beauty's got soul." The massive glass doors open, and sunlight spills across the marble floor. The green Aston Martin DB4 gleams like a jewel. The engine growls alive, deep and muscular. People step outside to watch. Cameras rise, phones click. Ozzy eases into the driver's seat. The leather creaks like it's sighing with nostalgia. Marcus slides into the passenger seat, still a bit tense. They roll out of the dealership and onto the narrow streets of Birmingham. The same streets where a barefoot kid once dreamed about this exact car while walking to a factory job. Ozzy points to an old row of houses. "That one there," he says. "That's where I grew up. We had one telly in the neighborhood. Everyone would pile into our house just to see Top of the Pops." Marcus glances out, humbled. It must feel strange, coming back. Ozzy shrugs. "Feels like looking at a ghost who still owes you money." They both laugh. The tension finally breaks. As they turn a corner, a group of kids on bikes spot him. One yells, "Oi, it's Ozzy!" Ozzy honks, waving. "Stay in school, lads, or start a band. Either way, make some noise." Marcus glances at him. "You really do love people, don't you?" Ozzy smiles faintly. "I used to think fame was about being untouchable. Turns out, it's about being reachable. People don't remember the hits. They remember how you made them feel." Silence follows, except for the steady hum of the engine. Marcus exhales. "I misjudged you." Ozzy grins. "When I saw you, I thought you were a snob. Guess we were both right, and both wrong." They share a genuine laugh, the kind that erases boundaries. After a few more turns, they pull up to a small cafe on the corner. Ozzy parks, kills the engine, and sits back. "Not bad for an old man, eh?" Marcus shakes his head. "You've got a better grip than half my clients." Ozzy leans back, eyes on the steering wheel. "This car's for Sharon. 42 years married. I owe her something shiny." Marcus smiles softly. "That's rare these days." Ozzy nods. "Love's like this engine, mate. You've got to keep tuning it, or it stops running." They drive back to the showroom. The crowd that had gathered outside earlier now waits eagerly by the entrance, whispering and recording. Ozzy steps out, stretches, and signs the papers with a quick flourish. Clara, handing him the keys, says quietly, "That's the kindest man I've ever met." Ozzy hears her. He turns, smiling. "Kindness costs nothing, love. You can't buy it, not even with 800 grand. She blushes. Danny, the young fan, approaches again. "Mr. Osbourne, can I ask, what was Iron Man really about?" Ozzy looks at him, thoughtful. "Fear. The kind that eats you alive. It's not just noise, son. It's pain turned into rhythm. That's what heavy metal really is. A way to scream without scaring the people you love." Clara's eyes widen. "I wrote my university thesis about that." "About what?" "How your lyrics helped PTSD survivors, especially veterans. They said your songs made them feel less alone." Ozzy stares for a long moment. His voice drops low, sincere. "That means more than all the gold records in my house." Marcus clears his throat, suddenly emotional. "Mr. Osbourne, I owe you an apology. I treated you like someone you weren't." Ozzy pats his shoulder. "I, Marcus, and never underestimate someone who survived the 70s. Everyone bursts into laughter again, genuine, loud, unfiltered. Then Charles, a wealthy client standing by the doorway, nervously steps forward. "Mr. Osbourne, sorry to ask, but was the bat thing real?" Ozzy smirks, eyes glinting. "Let's just say I got free rabies shots for life." The laughter grows louder. Phones flash. For a moment, the whole place feels alive. A strange mix of rock energy and human warmth. Ozzy walks toward the Aston, keys in hand. But before he gets in, he stops. "You know," he says softly, "people think legends are born. Truth is, they're just the ones who refuse to stay buried." He opens the door, slides in, and revs the engine. The deep growl fills the room like a final chord of a concert. He waves once, that mischievous grin returning. "Cheers, mates. Be decent. It's worth more than any car." The wheels turn, and the green Aston glides into the misty Birmingham afternoon. The fog swallows it slowly until only the echo of the engine remains, humming like a ghostly encore. Everyone stands in silence. Marcus looks down at his reflection in the showroom floor and sees a different man. Clara wipes a tear from her cheek. Danny whispers, "He's not just a legend, he's a lesson." Marcus nods. "Yeah, the kind they don't sell in dealerships." Outside, the sound fades completely, leaving behind a strange stillness, like the air itself is holding on to the memory. And in that quiet, as the sun dips and the last rays bounce off the glass, Marcus finally smiles. For the first time that day, he understands that greatness isn't loud. It's not the roar of fame or the glare of money. It's something simpler. It's a man who's seen death, chaos, and addiction, yet still chooses to laugh, to love, to be kind. The kind of greatness that doesn't need applause, just the sound of an engine fading into the distance, whispering that it once belonged to Ozzy Osbourne. They say money defines a man. But sometimes it's the ones who've lost everything and learned compassion that remind us. Greatness doesn't wear a suit. Sometimes it wears a worn leather jacket, still calls home to Sharon, and drives away with a smile that says, "I made it. And I never forgot where I came from."